Past lives don't exist and timelines don't exist. That's because your lives are parallel in a human way of thinking of it. They're happening all at the same time. Every time people talk about timelines, they're actually talking about realities. And I'm going to show you why with the infinite mechanics. So I'm going to explain this based on already you knowing about how universes are created. Also, there's a lot of stuff that I am talking about right now on the places I talk about things, about how this style of universe, toroidal style universe, even happened at all. But so if you need help with that, I have some pinned at the top of my page. And I also have other places too that go in more depth of the storyline. But so let's just say these already exist, right? So this represents a source style universe. Again, if you're not sure about infinite mechanics and things like that, I talk about it everywhere. And if you have questions, please leave them in the comments. The other thing is, it could be a piece of that little source. And a piece is still gigantic because this is in infinity. And remember, this is all symbolic. It doesn't mean that it's exactly like this. It looks exactly like this. This is just a way to understand without me just speaking and doing videos, like just my face, because this can help. I think it makes sense. I think. So anyway, this also could be maybe a universe, and also when people say soul. So I know that in different things people talk about spirits, souls, all that stuff. But the thing that people think about, you're like, oh, your soul, what makes you, all that stuff. Whatever it is, it's that style. When the Titans were coming in, before they organized this and before the other energies organized it inside here, they went through this process as well, just like everything in the infinite mechanics. As soon as something happens in a process, especially when it's in a enclosed universe like this, style universe like this, they will go through those motions. But if there are other, things that came in to organize it, which that's what this is, um, it's a different situation because they had to go through all the things and create things for us. So I'm skipping all of that. Like I said, just ask me about that and I can do more. But anyway, I'm concentrating on this. So they go inside that universe, and then they implode in the universe, which is chaos. That's why I did that video a few videos back, where people keep talking about chaos and misusing chaos. This is chaos. And the fact that it implodes and goes into pieces is it's a different style that was created from that. So it's a different style of chaos. So our style universe, is a Sophia style universe, and Sophia imploded. So it's Sophia plus chaos, if that makes sense. So that's why people get confused with all the stories and stuff. And I use some of these symbols so that it can help them out when they're reading those things. Now, because of other storylines of things that have already happened in there, a mother field grabs the pieces, right? When the mother field grabs the pieces, it depends on what kind of style, because the videos before, again, if you need help with this, I'm going to put it on the bottom of the video, so check that out, so you can see those ones. So you can think of this like, I didn't draw it because it's just to make this clean, but let's say there's a circle here, a circle here, a circle here, and all your pieces are all over the place. So again, I can talk in more detail if you guys want to, but that would be the mother. It holds all your pieces together, the mother field, so that you can have your potential field. So this could be someone in the 1920s. This could be someone living in a different, because this is like just the field of that universe. So they could be in a whole different dimension. They don't have to be in the same dimensions. Like they could be in a dimension where it's not the learning teaching dimension that we're in. They could be in the one where the energies are able to still go into each other and do all kinds of wild stuff. And they don't have the restrictions, blah, 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 right? There's different rules, but they're all you, right? So when I say they are parallel, I really mean it because they're all over there, right? They're like, just because you're concentrating on being in there. Now, the reason why I said earlier that this could be a little piece, sometimes those little pieces wouldn't have the cluster mother field. They would just have this style because this one's very sturdy. The cluster one has all kinds of stuff going on, and it's usually not for smaller pieces because they want to directly go to where they that's exactly like them, if that makes sense. So when you're this little piece and you're being like, let's say you are a little girl living in San Francisco in California, that little kid is going to be thinking that, oh, this is my past life, and like, and trying to make order out of this, and that doesn't make any sense. Um, and then obviously that's going to be human things that they think of. There's other things as well when it comes to when people think that they're aliens or they think blah, blah, blah. There's a lot of stuff, but most of the things people talk about are just other humans in other places. Like, if that makes sense, that's usually what they talk about. So from our point of view as a human, it makes sense still for our brains to say parallel because all of these exist. So if you're a little piece and you imploded, you want to be in here because you can be in any of these like little ones and it'll be easy, if that makes sense. And they already exist. So sometimes you do it specifically and implode and go in there, and sometimes they already exist, which is usually the case when it's this style. Now, if you start to get to know yourself, and which is barely anybody right now because I'm supposed to help people do that. I hope people just figure it out, but unfortunately it's not happening. The more you get to know yourself and the more you build your basis for that kind of thing, you become your own sovereign field. This is something that you can do it still, but it's not the same as this. There's something else that happens where you can be your own whatever. So when that happens, it's a bit different, right? And so you would know like that these are parallel because the way that you sleep, the way all these things are happening, it's going to be like that. Okay. Now for timeline. So this is you, and these are all your layers, and it means that you've like visited all these layers and got to know yourself, and you've watered this seed, and that seed expands and expands and expands. Not high vibration, not low vibration, expansion. You grow so much within that it starts expanding out here. This is the internal external reality, I call it. These are things that you share with other people, your communication, all that kind of stuff, right? So I just put 4, but you can have like millions, right? You can be on TikTok, you can have a little support group for blah, 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 your family, everything, right? They're all here. What political people you look at, whatever, ones that you hate, celebrities, all that is here. That is where everybody collectively puts their ideas in, and not ideas, but like their thought forms, their actions, everything. And it doesn't matter if you're conscious or unconscious, but this one is as in like they've explored. And so they will probably know about who they're spending time on because that's who this is going to go into. Now, this is what everybody's messing with, right? I am having issues with the other thing because I have that independent field, so they're inside me. I didn't talk about that in detail. If you guys want, you can ask me. This is the dimension. So that's the learning teaching dimension. So that learning teaching dimension gets organized by intelligences, and they have become corrupt and all kinds of weird stuff has happened, and I don't want to get into it. But it's basically this, you guys. So if you guys concentrate on this, even if you can't work on yourself, if you concentrate on trying to see what you're spending time looking at, whether it's good or bad, doesn't matter. That is what you're feeding. And so when we do these things, we will shift. This is the dimension. We can shift the dimension to any potentials. So I also have more of this on my I'll just tell you later if you just ask in the comments. I have more about this as well if you want to know. But that is why. So I hope this helps. Again, ask as many questions as you want. Realities are very important to know right now.